Hello everyone, welcome to KK4Z. My name is Scott, and today I am set up at the James H. Sloppy Floyd State Park. Just real quick, I don't know if you can see my antenna or not, but I am right in between the trees, and then once again I had to use the back of my pickup truck to get my antenna away from trees and branches, but it works out well. I've got a split level campsite this time. Not that I'm probably not going to use that stuff out there, but it is nice. The comfort station is over that direction somehow. I have to see, how easy it is to get there. I camped a little bit further away than I normally do. We'll see how it works out. It's nice and quiet here, and I really like the campsite. There's lots of trees, lots of shade. Very, very nice. All right, well today, for this weekend, I'm kind of gonna take it easy a little bit. I have been, really trying to get a lot of cues together, running a lot of FT-8. I felt like I wanted to do get a couple kilo awards, and I'm close to a couple. It's just time to take a break. So today, or this weekend, I'm going to do what I call a me and the key weekend. I will have the FT-710, primarily doing CW, and if you notice, there is no laptop, and so I will not be. I purposely left it home in case I was tempted to do some FT-8. FT-8's pretty cool. I like it, but it's time to get some CW. And I got a little rusty with CW, so I need to get back into that thing. My antenna, of course, is my standard 28.5 foot random wire antenna that I call my K-2187 antenna, and it just works really, really well. I'm been real pleased with it, and whenever I can camp like this where I'm not backpacking it, this is my antenna of choice. I will be operating low power, hopefully in the 5 to 10 watt range. If band conditions are real bad, I may bump it up to 20, but I really want to do a more low power and a more low-key operation. I'm not going to operate the full period like I usually do. I'll get on, I'll get off, I'll change bands. Just really going to try and take it easy and get away from that kind of that contest mode thing. I used to like the contest, and so sometimes I like making lots of cues. Especially with FT-8, I did 400 at the beginning of the week at Kolomoki and got my kilo there. This is a new park to me, and I like it. I think I'm going to come back here. It's only about 80 miles from my house, and it's easy to get to, and I think I'm going to like it. But yeah, I'm going to slow down, take it easy, stop and smell the roses, so to speak. Anyhow, that's it for now. I was just checking in. I will report back later on how things go. Right now I'm going to finish setting up and maybe get on the air a little bit. We'll talk to you later. Alright, as you can see, it's about 29 minutes before the day ended, and I only got 12 contacts. It was rough. Let me tell you, the bands were just crazy. Something I don't usually do when I'm activating is I actually hunted a few park-to-parks just to make sure I had a good count. I didn't get the last 4 or 5 of them until about the last 10 or 15 minutes ago. The band was really bad. I guess we had to wait till this part of the earth turned away from the sun. So I'm taking a little break. I'm gonna get out, stretch my legs, do a little relief break, get something to eat, and come back in at the top of the hour and see if I can make a few more contacts. But yeah, this was rough. It was a bad time to leave my laptop home. I probably would have did better on FT-8, but I really wanted to do this, and I'm glad I did. Working working the CW under bad band conditions really makes you use your radio, and this time I really learned a lot about this radio. One thing I did find that's annoying with this radio is using my headphones. These guys right here, these are Bose headphones. I've had them for a long time. There's a lot of clicking when I'm transmitting CW in my ear cups. It's annoying and it's almost irritating. I think somebody else had mentioned this before, that there's clicking, but it almost sounds like relay clicking in your ear cups. I think it's probably a firmware issue, a software issue really. But other than that, the radio did well. Again, using it, I kept my filter on about 500 to 600 hertz when I was activating. When I was hunting, sometimes I would hit the narrow button, which would bring it down to 250. But RF gain was your friend here a lot of times. There was so much static noise that by cranking up, or in this case the way Yaesu works, you turn the RF gain counterclockwise to get it. You can actually pull the signal up. So it did a good job. All in all, it's a likable radio. I'm enjoying using it. It does have its quirks. Using it with a tuner other than a Yaesu tuner is a little bit of a hassle, but it's not something that's hard to overcome. It's just something else you have to do. I thought I was going to use the AESS speaker, but I ended up not using it because I had to turn the volume up so loud to overcome the static that I didn't want to bother my neighbors. I try to be a good neighbor when I'm at a park. We all come out here for peace and quiet, and we don't want to hear each other's stuff. So I put the headphones on, and I'm pretty comfortable. Again, using my screens and being able to look out the back is really nice. And so I'm going to take a break. I've got to get out and stretch my legs a little bit, get something to eat, and I'll be back to it. Anyhow, radio's doing okay. Like I said, all radios got their quirks. Yaesu's got a few, but it's not a bad radio. It's really not a bad radio. All right, I'll be back. Hello, everyone. This is Scott. It's almost 10 o'clock at night, and I may call it an evening. Like I said, I'm not going full throttle like I do in other activations. Just kind of taking this one a little easy and trying to really get a feel for the Yaesu FT-710. The band conditions, as you can see, are not good, and they haven't been good all night, which is bad if you want to make a lot of cues, but it was good because it gave me a chance to really stretch the 710. Did a lot of what would be considered weak signal work, which normally would be, an S7 to an S9 signal. Today, a lot of them were barely above S5, and there was a lot right around S0, S1. And so I got to work them, and I got to use the radio. I had to, it wasn't a cut and paste. It wasn't an S9 signal, so I don't have to touch the dials. With the band conditions the way they were, I really had to get in there and tweak the settings a little bit to make them work. Things I use, for example, if you look at the filter setting, I have it set for narrow, 250 hertz. Normally, when I do POTA stuff, I'll use a 300 to 500 hertz filter to give me a little room, but tonight I had to use the 250 just to be able to pull the signal out of the noise. Also, too, my friend tonight, besides that, was that dial right there, the RF gain. And that's a dial that's very, very important on all SDR radios, specifically the 710 and the 7300. The way to look at these radios is that they run wide open. And sometimes wide open is not good, and so you have to throttle back a little bit. And both the IC7300 and the FT-710, a lot of times you need to throttle back on the RF gain. That's something that a lot of people don't do, and then they complain that they can't hear anything because of all the noise. You gotta throttle back. The other thing, if you look over here, you see that my IPO is at IPO and my attenuator is off. It's with SDR radios, it's typically not a good idea to use any preamps. It's because they run wide open. And then when you get on the lower bands like 40 and 80, you should actually be putting in at least 6 to 12 dB of attenuation. Attenuation doesn't affect the receiver any, but it does cut that noise down. And so those are things you can do. I didn't use attenuator too much tonight. I was really making my adjustments with the RF gain. I was using digital noise reduction, anywhere from 3 to about 10. Typically hovered around 3 to 5. If you go too high on any of these digital noise reductions, you start losing the signal because you're blocking out the noise that's surrounding that signal, so it takes the signal with it. So you got to tweak it and you got to play with it. Now tonight I did a lot of hunting, which I normally don't do on an activation. I try to be, true blue, call CQ, POTA, and then get contacts. But tonight, a couple reasons. One, like I said, is I'm kind of taking a more relaxed approach to it this weekend, but also it gave me an opportunity by hunting to chase down these weak signals and try to work them. Now you can get some weak signals on as an activator. However, most of the people you're contacting are running 100 watts to 1500 watts, and they're running either full-size dipole or they're running, a beam antenna on, like 14, 15, and 10 meters. They have a tri-bander. And so, they're really pushing the signal to you. By hunting other activators, you're getting the more smaller antennas, you're getting the reduced wattage, not as efficient. And so you really have to struggle, so to speak, to get them to work. And that was good because it gave me an opportunity to mess with this radio and really get down and pull out some weak signals and work them. In general, the radio works. It's a likable radio. The ergonomics on the ICOM 7300 is better. The receive quality, I still think they're really close to the same. I know Rob Sherwood says this is number 2. Yes, but he also says that for most applications, including contests, any radio that has a 2 kilohertz blocking above 90 for CW and above 80 for sideband is a good radio. And so, yes, Yaesu has really good stuff, but do you really need it? Now in POTA, you don't need it at all because there's not a lot of close signal work in POTA. I mean, when you're even when you're contesting, I did a video a while back where I compared an FT-710 to the 7300, and everything that I could hear on the FT-710 I could hear on the 7300. So, apples and oranges, so to speak. I like this radio. The radio is kind of fun. I like the lights on the sides here, because when you hit, let me show you, when you hit your clarifier, it changes it to red and it reminds you that you got your clarifier on. And then when you're done, it turns back to blue. And that's a good, I like that for a field radio. For a field radio, like the 7300, fewer knobs, fewer buttons, less to worry about, because when you operate in the field, it's just not the same as when you operate at home. But it was a good night. I may operate a little bit longer. I just may go to bed. I don't know. It's like I said, I'm trying not to, go hog wild crazy, but really just trying to work the radio. Like I said, I don't normally hunt while I'm doing an activation, but I saw this as a really good opportunity because the bands are bad, and it gave me an opportunity to really work the radio and see how it plays in real life, during real conditions. Like I said, this is part of my fun comm, which is, kind of practicing emergency communications, doing fun things. And this would be one of the radios that I would take if I had to deploy somewhere for a disaster. It would be one of the two radios. It would be this one and the 7300 would both go with me. So anyhow, just real quick, just checking in. Like I said, it was a good day. It was hard. I got 29 contacts and I had to work to get them. in fact, yesterday, UTC yesterday, I was a little worried I wasn't going to get my 10 for the activation. And I think I got my last one about 20 minutes before midnight UTC, and was safe. So anyhow, that's all. Talking a little long. Something else I noticed, I'll show you real quick, is these paddles are great. They're light. However, there's another guy has a blog, John AE5X, and he feels the same way I do, that when you're doing something like POTA, you really just want to have a big, heavy set of paddles, because even though I got these on silicone operating, they do move around a little bit, and I tend to have a little bit of a light touch, and when the paddles move, it kind of throws off my cadence, and I miss dits more than I miss das. And so, I will keep these paddles. We've got my call sign on there, but I will use them for more like a SOTA activation than a POTA, and I'm probably going to get another set of paddles, something big and heavy that won't move around, because it does distract from what I'm doing, and you already have enough distractions when you're operating in the field. All right, well, I'll have more later on. Thanks for stopping by and checking things out. Like I said, the radio's doing well. It's doing what it's supposed to do, and it's, like I said, it's a likable radio. So we'll talk more later. We'll see you.